Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a really special unboxing video. For those of you that have followed my channel for a while, I'm sure you're aware that I am a big fan of the Zero Tolerance 0392 series. This is a limited edition factory custom model that was a collaboration with Rick Hinderer based off of the Eclipse model. I really have enjoyed these knives. This brown gold edition was the first really high-end knife that I ever bought. And it really was the beginning of my passion for this hobby, and I've enjoyed it ever since, and I've kept it because it's just that good. In fact, it's so good that I bought 3 different models of this, and I still have them in my collection. I've actually bought more than these 3. I've sold a couple of them and regretted it. But I own these 3. This one is the black version I had redone by Josh at Razor Edge Knives, and this is the Wharncliffe edition. My buddy Nico sent me his purple black Wharncliffe that he had redone by Josh, and it looks absolutely awesome. What I loved about these knives was a really high quality steel. Some of them were M390, the rest were 204P. Ball bearing pivots, titanium everything, custom hardware from Rick Hinderer, including the clips. And they just looked really cool. They felt great in the hand, and they were really well done. And they have yet to let me down. I really enjoy them. Even with all the custom knives that I've handled, these knives are still excellent in my opinion. So you can imagine how excited I was when at SHOT Show 2018, Zero Tolerance announced this knife. This is the ZT0393. This is a full production model based off the 0392 and the Eclipse that they're now going to be making for the people. One of the problems with the 0392s is that they were limited edition. They were made in limited runs of maybe around 1,000 knives each run. I don't really know. They never published those numbers. So there are only a few thousand of these circulating. Now they're going to be making this full production. So these mid-tech sort of factory custom, whatever you want to call them, came in around $400 to $450 depending on how you spec them. This one is coming in at $240. So I'm going to move these off the screen so we can go ahead and focus on this knife. I really enjoy the fact that they've brought a production version of the 392 into the market. But the thing that we need to figure out today is, does this knife live up to the name of the 0392? I love that knife so much, and I have such respect for it. I really don't want to be disappointed by this knife. The worst thing that could happen today is that I'm disappointed by this knife, that I don't think that it captures the essence of the 392, and therefore it's not worth the name, worthy of the name, I should say. So a couple of the things that you're going to notice right off the bat that are different will be the harpoon spanto grind. The 392s were done in a slicer harpoon grind. They also had the buoy, and they had the Wharncliffes that you saw before. But this grind is totally different. So also you're going to notice that the handles are significantly different. The liners here on the 393 are thinner, and now there is a G10 overlay. What you'll also notice is that the custom hardware from Rick Hinderer has been taken away. Now what hasn't been taken away is the ability to still customize this knife. So they're able to bring it to us at a $240 price point with 20 CV steel and the same overall size. So you can see here that it is exactly the same size as the 0392. I'll bring out the ruler just so we can see exactly what I'm talking about here. So the blade is coming in at exactly 3.5 inches of cutting length. That's also back to the tip of the handle right there, so we'll call it a 3.5 inch blade. Back to the pivot, you're looking at about 4.25 inches, and your overall length, you're looking at almost 8.5 inches, maybe 8.4 something inches. So it's all exactly the same size as the 0392. I'm going to show you now the other dimensions here. The handle thickness is coming in at 0.547 inches compared to the regular 0392. That's a little bit thicker, actually, interestingly. So even though they've gone with the thinner G10 overlays, it's still a little bit thicker than the original 392. So I'll leave this up on the screen for a size comparison. I'll go ahead and bring out a couple of other knives. Here's a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So you can see that all 3 of these knives are basically the same size, but you get a lot more blade on that 392 and 393. Right here is another ZT, a 0920. So you can see it's much smaller than that 0920. And then how about a Chris Reeve Knives large Inkosi? So a very similar overall size profile to the Sebenza sort of Inkosi package right there. So let's go ahead and break this knife down anatomically and see what we're working with. Up front is that blade done in 20 CV steel. I'm so excited that they've moved to exclusively 20 CV. Zero Tolerance really is the high-end American knife manufacturer, and their steels reflect that. They've moved now to what is essentially the most premium steel on the market. 20 CV, M390, and CTS 204P are all essentially the best steels that money can buy for knives at the moment. And to have it across their range is very nice to see. They've taken that excellent steel and they've turned it into this beautiful Harpoon Spanto blade with that satin finish on the big bevels right there. They've done the Spanto grind in their own ZT kind of a way right here. The regular Hinderer Spanto doesn't look quite like that, but it is their own adaptation, and I really like it. People were expecting a compound grind with like thinner grinds here or there, but really it's just the classic Spanto grind with a slightly more acute edge on that front bevel right there, but it's not significantly different. There's no hollow and then a flat grind. You have that beautiful Harpoon swedge up top. The flats are done in DLC in true ZT standards there. And then on the back, you get your classic billboarding of the 0393, Hinderer design, 20 CV steel. And mine just happens to be serial number 0404. So that satisfies my OCD a little bit. Moving back to the pivot, it runs on the ball bearing pivot system. And right away, I'm super impressed by the smoothness. Right out of the box, this knife immediately reminds me of the 0392. So what you can see, as I open and then close these, you can get a sense for the action. That knife has been flipped thousands and thousands of times. Right out of the box, this knife has a very similar overall feel. It's actually sort of uncanny how similar the feeling of the pivot, the detent, the blade deployment, and the solidity are to the 0392. Now, the thinner liners certainly give it a little bit of a higher pitched lockup sound. It's not the same sort of chunk that you get from the 392s, but it is a solid, early, and very nice lockup. There's no blade play in any direction at all. There's no blade wiggle when I disengage the lock bar right there. And the blade is very, very smooth to deploy. It even drops down under its own weight, and I think that that's going to smooth out and be awesome. Once I oil it up and make it really nice, it'll be incredible. The flipper tab is exactly the same as the 392s, and the deployment is just excellent. What you can see there is that they're basically exactly the same. So you really are getting almost a 392 when you're picking this knife up for a significantly less price, a lower price. And one of the things that really defines the 392 to me is that action, and I will say they've captured it with this knife. That is 100% there. Great job. In addition to that, not only can you flipper deploy it, but you can also thumb deploy it. That was a bad deployment. This thing has a detent that's so perfectly tuned that you can actually use the thumb studs. One of the problems on some of the 392 series is that the detent was strong enough that you could not use this. And if you touched the lock bar, it was a problem. So these handle overlays may actually be solving a problem for this series that allows you to actually open it like that. Moving back to the handles, this is probably the most controversial part of the knife. You get those titanium scales, but they come with these G10 overlays based on the Hinderer Maximus series. A lot of people say they don't like it, but I will say in the hand it's quite comfortable. Initial impressions are that this may be even more comfortable in the hand than the 0392, and that's because you have this overlay covering up the liner lock, so that's a nice ergonomic touch. And then they've added their own ZT style clip that's not quite as proud as the 0392, the Hinderer clip, and so it's actually more comfortable in the hand. And so ZT is again making a better Hinderer than Hinderer with this knife, and it's absolutely awesome. So my initial impressions are actually very positive on this knife. I didn't think I was going to like it. I was worried it wouldn't capture the essence of the 0392, but I think that it really does. And it actually is so nice. It came so sharp. It's built really, really well. And so I'm actually very happy with the results. Now I'm going to carry this, and you better believe I'm going to do some knife surgery where I customize this thing for you guys. But let's see how this thing ages. Tell me what you guys think down below. Click like and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. Go follow me on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey. And as always, guys, take care.